I'm not denouncing the corporation. I'm denouncing the people that have the job at the corporation at that time. Because, when I wanted to get my deal...
Kanye West is no stranger to controversy. Over the years, the rap icon has made headlines for his unpredictable behavior, public outbursts, and shocking statements. However, his most recent meltdown has been described as his most explosive yet, leaving fans, critics, and even those close to him questioning what really happened. From erratic social media rants to tense interviews and public conflicts, Kanye's latest spiral has once again put him at the center of media attention. But what triggered this meltdown? Is it a publicity stunt, a cry for help, or something deeper? In this deep dive, we'll break down the timeline of events, the key figures involved, the public reaction, and what this means for Kanye's career and well-being moving forward. The breaking point, how it all started. Kanye's latest meltdown didn't come out of nowhere, it was brewing for months. Leading up to the explosion, several key events set the stage for what would ultimately be one of his most chaotic episodes yet. One of the first warning signs came when Kanye started posting cryptic messages on social media. These posts ranged from vague religious references to outright attacks on celebrities, corporations, and even his own business partners. Fans who have followed Kanye for years knew that this wasn't just random venting, it was the beginning of another downward spiral. Things escalated when Kanye was seen in public behaving erratically. Reports surfaced of heated arguments at private events, unusual interactions with fans, and even moments where he seemed disconnected from reality. At the same time, those in his inner circle reportedly struggled to reach him, and some close friends expressed concern over his mental state. Then came the moment that truly set everything off, a viral confrontation that shocked the internet. The viral explosion, Kanye's most shocking outburst. The situation reached its boiling point when Kanye West made an appearance at a high-profile event, only for things to spiral completely out of control. According to eyewitnesses and leaked footage, Kanye arrived in a visibly agitated state, already looking like he was on edge. What happened next was something no one expected. In the middle of a conversation with journalists and industry insiders, Kanye went off on an explosive rant, targeting multiple figures in the entertainment industry, politicians, and even some of his former collaborators. The outburst, which was captured on video and instantly went viral, showed Kanye making controversial statements about race, power, and the control he believes certain groups have over the music and fashion industries. The speech quickly became incoherent, shifting from personal grievances to conspiracy theories that left many in the room visibly uncomfortable. As security tried to calm the situation, Kanye refused to back down. Instead, he doubled down, calling out former allies by name and making accusations that left even his closest supporters speechless. Within minutes, clips of the incident flooded social media, with fans and critics alike debating whether this was another calculated publicity stunt or a genuine cry for help. The fallout was immediate. Brands that had already distanced themselves from Kanye in the past were quick to release statements condemning his remarks. Some of his business deals, which had been hanging by a thread, were now in jeopardy. Meanwhile, those close to him, including his ex-wife Kim Kardashian, were reportedly deeply concerned about his well-being. The question remained, was this just another moment of Kanye being Kanye? Or was something much deeper happening behind the scenes? The industry fallout. Kanye faces severe consequences. The aftermath of Kanye West's meltdown was nothing short of catastrophic. Within hours, major news outlets picked up the story, dissecting every word of his fiery rant. Social media was in chaos. Some fans defended him, arguing that he was speaking his truth, while others were horrified, calling for consequences. One of the biggest blows came from the business world. Multiple fashion brands, including some that had previously collaborated with Kanye, publicly distanced themselves. Even after his past controversies, companies like Adidas and Balenciaga had remained somewhat tolerant. But this latest outburst was a breaking point. Reports surfaced that Adidas executives were in emergency meetings discussing whether to permanently sever ties with him despite the financial risks. Streaming services also began reviewing his music catalog, with some platforms subtly reducing his visibility on playlists. Rumors even spread that certain executives in the industry were quietly advising artists to avoid working with him, further isolating Kanye from the mainstream. But the biggest shock came when financial institutions allegedly began reconsidering their relationships with him. If Kanye's controversial remarks continued, he risked losing access to some of the high-level banking and investment services that had helped maintain his billionaire status. At the same time, Kanye's personal life was also taking a hit. Reports suggested that Kim Kardashian was deeply troubled by his behavior, especially considering how it could impact their children. Sources close to Kim claimed that she was exploring ways to legally limit Kanye's ability to make public statements that could harm their family's reputation. Despite all of this, Kanye remained defiant. He took to social media to defend himself, claiming that his words were being twisted and that he was being canceled for speaking out against the powers that be. He doubled down on his beliefs, making additional controversial posts that only fueled the fire. Yet, even some of his most loyal supporters started questioning whether this was just Kanye being Kanye, or if he was truly spiraling out of control. The public reaction. Fans divided like never before. As Kanye West's Meltdown dominated headlines, his fan base found itself split into two extreme factions: those who saw him as a misunderstood genius being unfairly targeted, and those who felt his behavior had become indefensible. On one side, Kanye's most loyal supporters argued that he was simply telling the truth and exposing corruption within the entertainment industry. They claimed that his erratic behavior was a byproduct of being constantly silenced, and that the backlash he faced only proved his point. Some even suggested that powerful forces in the industry were trying to cancel him because he refused to conform. Memes and tweets flooded social media, portraying Kanye as a martyr who was being unfairly punished for his outspokenness. However, an equally large group of former fans had finally reached their breaking point. Many who had supported Kanye through past controversies felt that this meltdown was different. It wasn't just a publicity stunt or an artistic outburst, but a dangerous spiral. Social media was filled with people expressing their disappointment, saying that they could no longer support an artist who continuously engaged in destructive behavior. The hashtag #KanyeIsOver trended for days, with thousands of users calling for a complete boycott of his music and products. Even within hip-hop, reactions were mixed. Some artists spoke out in support of Kanye, saying that the industry had always been unfair to outspoken black creatives. Others, however, distanced themselves, making it clear that they did not condone his actions. Reports even suggested that certain industry figures were actively avoiding him, afraid that associating with Kanye could damage their own reputations. The divide wasn't just among fans, it extended to media outlets as well. Some platforms continued to give Kanye a voice, airing his unfiltered thoughts and interviews, while others completely cut ties, refusing to cover him anymore. This selective media coverage only added fuel to the fire, with Kanye's supporters arguing that censorship was proving their point. Despite the overwhelming backlash, Kanye continued to push forward. He announced new projects, teased upcoming music, and even suggested that he would take legal action against some of the companies that had cut ties with him. But the damage had already been done. His reputation had taken yet another hit, and this time, it wasn't clear if he could bounce back. Kanye's response: doubling down or seeking redemption? After the media storm and the financial losses, everyone expected Kanye to either issue an apology or at least clarify his actions. Instead, Kanye did what Kanye does best. He doubled down. Rather than showing remorse, He went on a spree of interviews and social media posts where he claimed that his words had been taken out of context. He insisted that he was being unfairly attacked by the media and accused his critics of trying to silence him. The censorship narrative. Kanye's fight against the industry. Kanye framed the backlash as proof that powerful entities were trying to control free speech. He suggested that the industry had turned against him because he refused to conform to its expectations. This narrative resonated with a certain portion of his fan base, who believed that Kanye was being targeted because he spoke his mind. Some even compared his situation to other controversial figures who had been canceled for expressing unpopular opinions. But the majority of the public wasn't buying it. To many, this wasn't about free speech. It was about Kanye repeatedly crossing the line and refusing to take responsibility. Public outrage versus fan loyalty. Despite the growing criticism, Kanye still had a fiercely loyal following. Social media was divided. While some people called for a complete boycott of his music and brand, others insisted that he was simply misunderstood. One thing was clear. Kanye's latest meltdown had permanently damaged his reputation among mainstream audiences. While he had always been controversial, this time, the consequences were hitting him harder than ever before. Some of his biggest fans started questioning whether they could continue supporting him. Even those who had defended him in past controversies admitted that this time, Kanye had gone too far. But in Kanye's mind, he was still in control. He hinted at new music, independent ventures, and even political ambitions, suggesting that he wasn't going anywhere. A strategic comeback or the beginning of the end? So what's next for Kanye West? Is he plotting another genius comeback, or has he finally pushed too far? Some experts believe that Kanye might attempt to reinvent himself once again, using this scandal as fuel for a new era in his career. If there's one thing he's known for, it's turning controversy into art. Others, however, argue that Kanye is running out of chances. With brands, fans, and even his industry peers distancing themselves, he may have finally reached the point of no return. But if history has taught us anything, it's that Kanye West thrives on unpredictability. Whether this meltdown marks the downfall of his empire or the beginning of his next big move remains to be seen. Kanye West's most explosive meltdown yet has left the world divided. His actions have had real consequences, from financial losses to widespread backlash. While some see him as a genius pushing boundaries, others believe he has destroyed his legacy beyond repair. Only time will tell whether this is truly the end of Kanye's reign or just another chapter in his unpredictable journey.